What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast and Merry Christmas. This episode goes live on December 25th, but whenever you are listening to it, I just hope that you had a beautiful, joyful, peaceful holiday season, whoever you spent it with, family, friends. And also, if this time of year tends to be challenging for you or stressful or melancholy, I really just hope that you took some time for yourself and that you were able to unplug a little bit, fill your cup, and do something that makes you feel really good from the inside out. So I'm wishing you guys all so much love and joy and peace and prosperity for this next year. I hope that you've been enjoying the holiday season and taking some time for yourself, because I know it's really easy this time of year to just jump right into our vibes and our vision for the new year. But I think one of the best parts of the holidays is really just being present and allowing yourself to unplug and be in the moment and soak up those memories with whoever you choose to spend them with. So I really hope that you got a chance to do that this year. And trust me, we will have plenty of time to get into all of the vibes and vision and goal setting for the new year. In fact, I have some episodes planned for you guys where I'm going to walk you through some guided practices. I'm going to take you through some reflections, some journaling, how I plan my year, both personally and professionally, how I lay things out for my business, how I set the vibe and choose a theme of the year. We're going to go through so much. So stay tuned for those episodes coming soon. And I'm also going to be hosting a free class in the new year. It's going to be happening probably around the second or third week of January. We've yet to pick a specific date, but I just want to have it on your radar in case you're looking for something like this. It's going to be called Your Year of More. And this class is going to be the perfect way to kick off 2025 together, especially for my entrepreneur girlies who are ready to make millions, hold more wealth, more influence, more certainty, and more freedom. You're ready to expand your capacity to really hold and be more in this next year and really growing to meet the demand of the size of your dreams. So we're going to go through so much in this new class. There's going to be energetics, there's going to be strategy, there's going to be business, there's going to be mindset. We're going to do a lot together. So stay tuned for that. Make sure that you're on my email list if you want to get the invite to that and don't miss out on it. And also, we have Top Tier that is kicking off in January. I am so excited for this next year of deep, immersive business growth when it comes to marketing, messaging, leader frequency, content, brand, and becoming a respected voice in this industry. So if you've been thinking about joining us, click the link in the show notes below to apply now. We start in January. For this week's episode, I am bringing something back from the archive. This episode is originally from 2021, but I wanted to reshare it with you guys this week because it's all about how to get out of an energetic rut. And I know that at this time of year, it's easy to feel sluggish, out of routine. You feel like you're being your best self. You're kind of in this space of where you've just been not taking care of yourself to the best of your ability, or maybe you've been spending more time on social media, or you feel like you're in comparison, or as it comes to the end of the year, maybe you've been judging yourself a little bit, wishing that you had done better, that you hit more of your goals, and then you kind of started to feel down on yourself. Maybe you're feeling imposter syndrome. Whatever is coming up for you, I know that this time of year can bring up a lot. And so I really felt like this episode would be super supportive for the end of the year so that we can really start to look at why we might be feeling in a bit of an energetic rut, why we're feeling a little bit lost or comparison-y, or maybe we're feeling kind of stuck or not sure the direction that we want to go with our lives in this next year that's coming up. If any of that is true for you or resonates and you're just feeling a little uninspired or even just a little bit flat, then this episode is for you because we're going to talk about all of it. So this is something that I shared years ago, but it is still so relevant. We're going to dig into how we end up in these energetic ruts anyways. Like, what are the main culprits that lead us to feeling uninspired, lost, stuck, flat, bored, whatever it is. I also talk about my breaking point at this particular point in my life of what really made me decide, like, I need to make a change and I've got to get out of this energetic rut. We talk about the difference between work life and life. I go through and share like a lot of what I was going through at that time, how I was feeling and how I was navigating it, being in the middle of that experience, not fully on the other side, but really just sharing the rawness from the messy middle and questioning whether, new jobs, new cities, new relationships are what our soul is truly craving and what's going to fix things for us, or is that just another bandaid solution? And if so, how do we get to the root? How do we find the real thing that's going to bring us more fulfillment or bring us back to feeling like ourselves again or reignite that spark? I also share with you the 5 things that I like to do in order to start fresh and get re-inspired for life. And then I share 10 journaling prompts that will really help you get unstuck. So I hope this episode keeps you company and helps reignite a little bit of your spark before we go into the new year. All right, let's dive in. Welcome to the Make Shift Happen podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Daly, entrepreneur, life coach, and your no BS bestie, here to bring you all things mindset, manifestation, and personal development. This podcast is designed to help you expand your mind and up-level your life. So turn the volume up and roll the windows down if you're coming along for the ride. Let's go make shift happen. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. Thank you so much for coming back and tuning in for another episode. And if you're new here, also, hi, hello, welcome to the family. We are so excited to have you here. This week, I'm going to be talking about getting out of an energetic rut because I've been in one. So I really love to make this podcast relevant to me, because if it's something that I'm living through, if it's something that I'm experiencing, if it's something that I'm moving through currently, I think my energy on it just comes through so much more, and it's felt more deeply by the people that listen to it. So I try to keep these episodes up to date and relevant for what's going on for me in my life, what tips or things I'm learning, utilizing, the shifts I'm making, or whatever's kind of happening in my space at the moment. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted this episode to be about, I did struggle a little bit, because I wanted to come on here and be that super motivational version of myself that I can be to really inspire you and light a fire under your bum and get us all super excited. We are fast approaching the end of this year, calling in a whole new season, a whole new year, a whole new set of goals, manifestations, versions of ourselves that we want to become, or things that we want to let go of and unbecome, right? And so I wanted to come on this week and be that super motivational, fiery version of myself that I know I can be, but I felt like I was putting an expectation on myself that wasn't necessarily true for how I felt internally. And so, I sat down and I got to thinking, and I was kind of brainstorming of what I wanted this episode to be about. And so I want to talk about getting out of an energetic rut, because I feel like I have been in one, and I'm actively moving through this process of how do I shift this? How do I pull myself out of this? And so I'm just going to take you along the journey with me of what I've been realizing, what it's been like for me, what was the breaking point, I guess, in a sense of wanting to get out of this place, and what am I going to do next to really be able to start fresh and share that with you guys. And so I also have some journaling prompts that I'm going to save for the end, which I think are going to be really powerful to help you dig in deep to your own life and any sort of stuckness or stagnant energy that you feel, and start to break that up and really think about how you can get back into this fresh, inspired energy, which is what I'm hoping for as well. But as always, just want to be fully transparent with you guys of I have been in a little bit of an energetic rut, and I am not making this episode from a place of and here's how I got out of it, and now it's already finished and gone and done, and I feel none of this anymore, and I feel amazing. Right? This is very much a middle of the road type guidance that I'm going to give, which I think is just my style right now, is just being really open and sharing with you where I am in life and sharing those messy parts of it. And even if I don't have all the answers, I think even just listening to what somebody else's experience is and how they intend to navigate it can help inspire us in ways, sometimes even more so than a 5-step process, or do this, that, and the other thing, and then you'll be cured, right? So how did I get here? I first kind of want to talk about the process of how I got into this energetic rut and the things that I feel like are the main culprits, the main contributors, because I think this is also relevant in terms of our level of self-awareness of if you're also feeling stuck on any level, being able to kind of reflect and take responsibility and know hey, okay, how did I get here, right? Because I think understanding how we got into the rut is going to inform on a deep level how we're going to be able to pull ourselves out of it. So that was the first thing that I did when I thought about, making this episode and kind of talking through this live with you guys. So I just wrote down in my notes, how did I get here? And here are some of the things that came up for me. The first one was not moving my body. And this is just been, over the past year, it's been more of a struggle than ever before, I think, in my life to get into a rhythm of regular movement. I'll go through like spurts where I'm really into it and it's good for a week or 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. That's probably maximum. And then I'll just kind of like fall flat and, not work out, not do yoga, not really go for the kind of like long walks that I do sometimes enjoy, and just kind of get into this space where like movement of any kind feels so unappetizing to me. And it's been over the past year, just like really struggled to be in a groove of what actually feels good to me, what feels appetizing to me in terms of movement right now. And so I think that has played a huge role in me getting into this energetic rut, because moving our bodies, whether we like it or not, is so fundamental, and it's so important for our personal vibration and our energy. And, understanding that the body is the subconscious. This is where all of our past memories and traumas and beliefs live. And so we have to move this vessel often and vigorously if we want to shake that stuff up and shift it and get rid of old energies that aren't serving us anymore and feel renewed. So, of course, I know that to be true. And that's why I think it came up as like number one on my list of like, how did I get in an energetic rut? Okay, I have not been consistent or like super intentional about moving my body enough. Like I just haven't. And that is totally on me. It was my choice because it was not enjoyable for me to work out in that way. But it was also my choice to allow myself to, instead of find something else that felt more aligned or felt more inspired or felt more right, to just like do nothing at all, right? So we have to take personal responsibility for how we got to where we are. And I am totally open to doing that. And I know that not moving my body is one of the number one reasons why I feel stuck right now. So if you feel stuck in your life for any reason in any area, maybe movement is something for you to look at. Have you been consistent with it? Are you moving in a way that feels good for you, that doesn't feel like a punishment? I used to move my body in a way like going to the gym, like, oh, you should really go. It was always, you should really do this. You should really do this. And so I would drag myself to the gym and I would force myself to do exercises and workouts and run on the treadmill and just do shit that I didn't really want to do. And the whole time I just felt such a deep resistance of like, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be doing this. And then when I was done, I was like, I feel so good that I did that. But that is so short-lived. And so I think finding some form of movement that actually feels appetizing to you, that you actually, some days it'll obviously be hard no matter what it is, even if it's like some dance class or like a hip hop thing or some Zumba or booty yoga or whatever it is, like a bar class or kickboxing or Orange Theory or F45, like whatever it is that is your jam. Of course, there's going to be days when it's hard, but making sure that the movement that you're choosing is actually something that you enjoy while you're doing it and you're not like dreading it and hating it the entire time throughout. Yeah. So that's the number one thing for me, not moving my body. Other reasons for how I got here is in this energetic rut is, like just not really pushing myself out of my comfort zone a lot lately. I think I have done this a lot in my life, pushed myself out of my comfort zone. But recently I've just been in a place where things are really cozy and comfortable, and I haven't pushed myself out of my comfort zone too much in the recent months. I'm like staying home a lot. I'm not really like reaching out to people to make plans very often. I am just like getting comfortable in my little cocoon. And I have definitely over the past year and a half, 2 years, have become more introverted than ever before. And so I do love my space and like being at home, and honestly, like staying in just feels so nice and so good. And like, I don't want to be out partying, or like even just the thought of like having to like get ready and get on the subway and like ride into the city and, go to like a cafe to work or something feels so exhausting to me. that I'm like, I just want to work from home. I just want to be here in my little cozy space. And of course, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that's totally okay. And that's the reason why I've created the life that I have, because I want to be able to choose. I spent a lot of years like waking up at ungodly hours to make sure that I could walk the dog and do my morning routine and get ready and fully do my hair and do my makeup and get on the train and ride 45 minutes or sometimes even an hour. It depended on where I was working at that time, to my workplace, be there, like teach all day long, be on my feet, have a 2-hour lunch break that I had to somehow fill with activities, even though I wasn't being paid. So I'd have to go out into the city and I would go shopping, or I would run errands, and then I'd run back to work and I would finish. And then I would have my 45-minute to an hour-long commute home in the evening. And then I would have to do all my, duties and responsibilities of being a homeowner and a dog mom and a partner and all that kind of stuff. And it was just like exhausting. And I just remember being so excited about the idea of not having to do that anymore, that once I had the opportunity for that, once I could just work for myself and work from home, I really leaned into that and I settled into it so much so that maybe now it's a little bit too much. And I think, there's times where I definitely could get out a little more. And so that's another reason that I feel I've gotten into this energetic rut, is because I'm just not pushing myself out of my comfort zone a lot lately. I am very cozy and familiar in my home with my, typical routine that I do every day. Like I'm not going to a lot of new places very often. Another thing is that I'm just like focusing so much on work and not enough on life. And I think that has led me to this place of feeling sort of just like stagnant energy, because that gets boring after a while, just focusing so much on my work and the things that I'm creating and the programs I'm building and how I want to serve my clients and, having my client calls and my creation days and podcasting and all that stuff that I love so much, which I think is the challenge, is like when you do love your work, it's hard to not go overboard with it. But I've definitely been focusing a little bit too much on work and not enough on life, not enough on the living, right? I talked about this a little bit in a few episodes back, in the episode about ways to become the boss of your own life. And I really have to take my own advice in this sense of thinking about how I want to actually live, not just how I want to work. And so I would encourage you to think about that as well, because maybe you don't work for yourself, but it is still very easy to get wrapped up in your work life and always have your personal life, your life come second to the work life. If you're also an ambitious person, whether you work for yourself or you have a career of some kind, working for a company or whatever it is, like it's very easy to, when we think about who do we want to become, where are we going, what's the vision for our life, what is our aspirations, we just think of it in terms of work. We're like, oh, I want to get this in my career. I want to get this position or have this type of salary or be able to have this many vacation days or, get to this level of responsibility or leadership or whatever. And like work, we just have to remember, I have to remind myself, come back to the understanding that my life is not about working. None of our lives are about working. Like work is a part of our life. It's a big piece of our life, which is why it's so important, I think, to love the work that you do. But ultimately still, even if you love the work that you do, work can't just be your life. It can't just be your identity. It can't just be your existence. It can't be the source of all of the goals and aspirations and ambition that you have. Like, what about the vision of your life and the goals and aspirations and things that you want to do and be as a person, just as a human that is given this one opportunity to live inside of a physical human body and walk around on earth and touch things and create and impact and speak and do and travel and see, right? Your soul will live on, but you only get one chance in this body. Like, we are here to live. We are here to do everything that is available to us in our humanness before our humanness escapes us. And that is a realization that I've had to come to when contemplating, shit, why do I feel so stuck right now? And it's like, okay, you know what? I actually have been putting way too much of a focus on work and not enough focus on life. So that may be something that is coming up for you as well. And then another one for me is like not respecting personal boundaries. Again, I talked about this in the episode about how to be, or ways to become the boss of your own life. And so just in terms of like this energetic rut that I'm in, specifically not respecting my personal boundaries around screen time and around sleep schedules is something that has fucked me over and gotten me into this place of feeling stuck, feeling down, not feeling myself, feeling uninspired, unenthusiastic, just like flat and like for sure. Like that's been a factor, 100%. So take that and do with it what you will, but I'm contemplating that and considering that and planning on being much more intentional about that moving forward, because I know it's a reason why I don't feel my best right now. And the last one that I kind of came up with and wrote down here is just like being distracted most days. I feel stuck and uninspired and unenthusiastic because I am so distracted on a daily basis, mostly by my phone, which goes into the screen time thing. Feeling like, I don't have time to do all the things that I want. I have so many creative ideas. I have so many programs that I want to build or things that I want to offer to you guys, things that I want to teach, people that I want to have on the podcast. Like there's so many things that I want to bring into my space, but I'm like, I don't have time. And the truth is that I do have time because, I used to have actually way less free time in my schedule, and I would still get more done because there was just more pressure around it. It's like, I'm sure we've all experienced this when you are a kid or a teenager and you've got school and you've got, extracurriculars and sports and all kinds of other stuff on your plate. You find a way to like get your homework done and just get your shit done because you only have a certain small window of space and time to do it, or else it will not get done and then you'll be totally screwed. But then if you have nothing, if you have the whole afternoon or the whole long weekend to do an assignment, you will wait until the very last minute to get it done. It's like the time that we give ourselves, we will fill that whole space of time, always. If I have 2 hours to get ready to go to dinner, I will somehow find a way to fuck around so hard and get so distracted that I fill the entire 2 hours of getting ready to go to dinner, when I could get ready to go to dinner in 45 minutes, but we utilize the time that we give ourselves. And so, this year, it was such an up level to me to be able to shift the structure of some of my programs and the things that I'm offering so that I'm not as overwhelmed and I'm not doing 90 client calls in 90 days like a psychopath. And I actually have white space in my calendar, and I love that. And I needed that so deeply, or else I was going to burn out. But I feel almost like I've given myself so much white space that now all I do is just fuck around and be distracted. That's not true. I do work, but you get what I'm saying, right? It's like, being distracted, having this much space and time to do things and not having a clear focus or intention about what the fuck I'm actually using that time for has made me feel energetically drained. It's made me feel stuck, stagnant, uninspired, all those things, right? Because I feel like I'm spinning my wheels here. I'm like, I'm doing the same stuff, but I don't have time and I want to do all these things, but I can't fit it in. And why am I so distracted? And and it's just the same thing over and over again of wanting to do more, but not having the space. But I know that I actually have the space. I'm just being a squirrel brain. So that's how I feel like I've gotten to where I am. That is the reason why I feel like I'm in this energetic rut. And I also just want to be fully transparent and say that this concept came to me on the first day of my cycle when I was also feeling very sad and depressed, which was likely just hormones. So talk to me in a few days and I may be like, I don't even know who that person was. I'm totally fine. That's not me anymore. I don't relate. I don't resonate. I don't feel any of those ways. But sticking with the theme of like just letting you guys in and taking you along the journey with me, like that's where I'm at. And that's how I feel like I got here. So we'll see how I go progressing with this. But I want to talk about a little bit about what the breaking point was for me in being able to actually wake up from this stuckness and this stagnancy to actually get the motivation to feel like it's time to change. And then we're going to get into my plan and my ideas for how to start fresh and really get a sense of like reinvigoration. Is that a word? I feel reinvigorated in my energy, and you guys can feel free to steal any of those tips that you want. And then I'm also going to give you those journal prompts at the end. So stick around for that. So I think the real breaking point for me was just like feeling so bored and uninspired with life that I was like, something has to change here. And so actually last night I had a pretty like deep and emotional, to be honest, conversation with my partner about what we actually want out of life, because I know that there's a part of me that someday hopes to become a mom, and that, you know, being a parent will hopefully, if it's available to me, be a part of my life and my future. And so, you know, feeling like that journey into motherhood may be somewhat approaching on the horizon, like not anytime soon. I'm not trying to insinuate like we're trying to get pregnant, because we're definitely not. But, you know, just like really thinking about, how do I want to live my life while my life is still just mine? Because once my life is not just mine anymore, I know that so much will change. And it doesn't mean that life has to stop, but I just know that it will be even more challenging, and there will be a lot more hurdles and hoops to jump through in order to, you know, like just pick up and move somewhere or do these kinds of 12-day trips on a whim. Like having a family and being a parent is a big responsibility. And I know that's going to change a lot for me at some point in the future. Again, if it's available to me, God willing. But so I just, you know, feeling like I was in this place of being super just bored and like uninspired with life and just feeling super flat. It inspired this conversation with my partner about like, what do we want out of life? Like, what do you want to do in the next couple of years? What do I want to do in the next couple of years? You feel bored with life. Like, I'm sorry, we just can't accept that. That was my initial reaction, was like, I'm sorry. That needs to be over right now, because it's unacceptable. Like, I live such a privileged existence, and I do my best to really recognize that. And I'm so fortunate and so grateful for everything that I have and all the, you know, freedoms that I've created for myself, whether it's time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom. Like, I have so much at my fingertips to be just like sitting here in this bedroom being like, I'm bored. I felt myself feeling that way, and I wanted to smack myself. And so that was kind of the breaking point of like, okay, this is not okay. We're not doing this. It's unacceptable. You have so much available to you. You have so much at your fingertips. Let's just figure out what you want to do with that. And so last night, Jaime and I had this like deep conversation about where we're at in our careers and our lives and what we see the future like and what we actually want and how we want to live these next couple of years, because I'm not going to just sit here and mope around and accept boredom or feeling uninspired on a daily basis. And I think, you know, this is where I have to be really realistic with myself in terms of getting out of this energetic rut, just being careful not to get shiny object syndrome, which I've talked a lot about this in the work that I do with my clients whenever they want to shift their career or get a new job or move into a new industry. They're feeling really underappreciated or undervalued or underpaid, underrecognized, whatever it is in their current position, and they want to get out. And the fine line that we have to walk is obviously wanting to make a change for ourselves that's going to benefit us, but being very careful not to just see the first thing that pops up and get stuck in that shiny object syndrome of just reaching for that next thing, because it's going to be a quick hit of dopamine. right? Like, yes, new job, new company, this place looks cool, it's in a trendy building, or, they do remote working or whatever. Okay, now my problems are going to be solved. And then you get into that new position or that new job and you soon realize it's the same shit in a different packaging. It's the same shit, but a different day, because you haven't really addressed the underlying reasons for why you were unhappy in your other position. What was it specifically about your role, your commute, your responsibilities, your pay, your management, your the company's kind of communication? Like, we got to get into the nitty-gritty of what's making us unhappy in a job, or even in a relationship. Same thing applies. Or in a relationship or in life in general, we got to get nitty-gritty about what is actually going on that's making us unhappy, or else we're just going to keep putting new band-aids that have different colors on them over the same wound and hoping that it heals. We're not actually ever finding the root cause of the thing, right? Which is something that I think, this is a whole other conversation, but this is just something that I think we've been conditioned to do as a society in general, right? You go to the doctor, you have a problem, they put a fucking band-aid on it. They give you a pill, they slap a medication on it. They tell you that's not a problem. All women experience that. It's probably just your period. You're probably stressed. Try to calm down a little bit. And we don't actually go deeper. And so we get a new problem and a new problem, or the same problem, and it keeps evolving and it's growing and it gets bigger, and we're still sick and we still feel bad and we're still unhappy because we don't actually go deeper to the root. So wherever this applies or resonates for you, whether it's with a job or a relationship or your health or life in general, I think we just have to be really careful not to just band-aid stuff and not to get shiny object syndrome of, ooh, that'll be the thing that fixes it, right? And so, I guess the question then for us became, how do we inject joy into our existence where we are now? And so that brings me to the section about starting fresh and just some of the ideas that I've jotted down for myself about how I plan to get re-inspired and just feel a sort of freshness in my energy as I move forward and as I continue to ask and answer these important questions about, how did I get here? Why do I feel stuck? Where am I lost? Is this actually going to fix it? What is the band-aid versus what is my soul asking for? All of that is ongoing. It's present in my life and in my space and in my energy. But alongside of that, I'm going to pair it with these other things that allow me to start fresh. And so I'm going to share these things with you now. So what I'm planning to do is obviously move my body more, because we had a big conversation about how that was part of how I got here. So moving my body, making a plan for that, right? Scheduling the classes, setting aside time in my calendar, blocking off actual time and space on specific days to do it. Because we all know that if we just wait until it's convenient, we will conveniently be waiting forever. So moving my body. And then I'm going to create some clear goals for my business, which I've actually already been doing today. And I'm excited to share one of them with you at the end of this episode. But creating clear goals for my business and just asking myself, what am I offering this month? Where is my income coming from for any of my fellow entrepreneurs or online coaches, creators, practitioners? So thinking about, what are you offering this month? Where is your income going to come from? And how can you show up more powerfully and consistently? These are the questions that I'm asking and answering myself. And then I've also been reaching out to coaches and practitioners who can support me with where I'm at and the things that I'm currently struggling with or moving through. So I am going to be working with a holistic nutritionist and skin coach, which is very exciting. Well, I want to start to support my body in a better way through food and just nourishing myself, my skin, and my digestion on a new level. And I need support in doing that because I don't have all the answers. And I also don't want to spend my precious time and energy searching for them. So that's always why we hire coaches and practitioners, right? Is because they give us personalization and they save us a lot of time and energy. And then I'm also going to be hiring a hypnotherapist to help me work through some subconscious behaviors and habits that I've had for a lifetime that I am very ready to get rid of. And then the other day, I also had a human design reading my reading was incredible and it illuminated so many things for me and just helped me understand myself on a deeper level. And one of the coolest things that she unpacked for me in our session was discovering my circuitry in terms of individual, collective, and tribal. And so I'll just explain it briefly because it was so mind-blowing to me. But what this means is based on like the gates that you have activated in your chart, I believe, don't quote me, not a human design expert, but I love to share the things that I learn based on like the gates that you have activated. So I have 18 total gates activated, I believe, in my chart. And so then those are broken down into these different sections of individual, collective, or tribal. And so they each have kind of a different number of like points, let's call them. And so my collective energy has like 9 points, which means that, that's half of my total 18. So basically 50% of my energy or my time in the day is meant to be spent on the collective, on moving humanity forward, on impacting the people in my community and around me and who I can reach and touch through Instagram and the podcast and my work. And so that felt super aligned and so obvious of why I love working so much and why I do the work that I do specifically, because I have a lot of this collective energy. Like I'm meant to really spend half of my day every day in that space of like serving and elevating the consciousness of the world and reaching humans and touching their lives in different ways and helping them expand and grow and change. So, I've got 50% in collective, and then I had 8 points, again, we'll call them points, I'm just saying points for lack of a better word, in individual. So what that means is 45% of my day is then meant to be spent on self-serving activities, things that are for me, right? Like I need maybe 2 hours in the morning to do my morning routine and things that serve me, and 4 hours off of work in the evening. That would really create this 45% of my day being able to serve me. And so that's a lot of time when you think about it, like 6 hours in the day being spent on me. That was definitely the most eye-opening part of this whole thing, was like, wow, I really need to lean into that more and honor that more, because I'm definitely, I feel my call and my urge and my desire to be in that collective space, but I'm not really honoring, not nearly enough, this individual space that it's also very highly important to me. It's part of my design. So I need to honor that more. And then I only had 1 point in tribal. And so tribal is kind of like, your people, your tribe, right? Like your house, your family, your pets, your, chores, household things, like those are things that help me take care of my tribe. And so I only had 1 point in that. So 5% of my day, or basically 1 hour of my day, should be spent on those things with that sort of kind of like home, household, family focus. And that made a lot of sense to me. And when I told this to Jaime, he was like, I hate this. He was like, if you start to use this as an excuse for why you can't go to the supermarket or do the dishwasher or take the dog for a walk, because, our lives are actually working so much smoother, at least for me. I don't know how he feels. I think he feels the same, but our lives are working so much smoother now that he's taken those things over. Like now that he works from home mainly, he does all the laundry and he does the dishwasher and he does the majority of, duties that pertain to Storm and ordering his food, and he does the majority of his walks in a day. I mean, our dog is a fucking prince. He needs 4 walks per day, 30 minutes each minimum. Like, hello, that does not fit, sir, into my 5% of tribal energy that I'm meant to be in per day. So anyway, we had like a funny conversation about that. And he was like, well, I need to see my chart and I need to know my tribal energy, because if I only have 1 point, then what are we going to do? And we were just joking about how we're going to just tell our parents that we're never having kids because we don't have enough tribal energy in our human design charts. Anyway, I have yet to find out what his distribution is in terms of circuitry in his human design, but let's hope he has more tribal than I do so we can keep living with the current distribution of things that we have, because let me tell you, it's working for me. It's working for me. So anyway, that was just super eye-opening. And again, I think it's so beneficial to reach out to people, coaches and practitioners that can help support you through whatever it is that you're moving through if you are in a place of stuckness or uncertainty or feeling lost in any capacity in life. The other thing is to get outside the house more often. Like I said, I'm really comfortable in this little cocoon of mine. And so I'm going to make an effort to go on more walks and just get outside more and maybe go even shopping more and just go out to eat and go into the city and just enjoy the place that I live. So getting outside the house more often. And then the last one is that I'm just going to be putting out the energy that I'm open to new opportunities, that I'm open to change, that I'm open to things unfolding for up levels and quantum leaps and miracles. I'm open to miracles now. I'm going to affirm that as often as I can, Dear God, source, universe, guides, I am open to receiving miracles now. I'm open to having my eyes opened to new opportunities and possibilities and opportunities and change and whatever. I want to be able to see those things when they come up, because if we think that we're stuck, we will see all the reasons for why we're stuck. So this is kind of like the mindset piece that's going to help me, is reaffirming and reminding myself, I'm not stuck. I'm open. I'm open. I'm open. I'm open. I'm open to see and receive and create change in my life in whatever way that wants to come through, and handing that over to the universe, of course. So that's what I'm going to be doing to start fresh. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I am now going to give you these journaling prompts. If you have a pen or your notes app and you want to jot these down, get that out now. Pause this episode really quick, come back when you're ready, and then I'll give you these prompts to help you get out of your own energetic rut if you feel that you are in one. So the first prompt is simply, where do I feel stuck and why? The next one is, what am I thinking or assuming will fix it? And is that actually true? What am I thinking or assuming will fix it? And is that actually true? Or would that just be another dopamine hit or a short-lived joy? The next prompt is, what do I want to experience in the next 1 to 3 years? So with this prompt, really thinking about what life do you have left to live? What are those living experiences that you want in the next 1 to 3 years? What do you really want to do in the next 1 to 3 years? And the next one is, how much of that am I postponing? And then after that, how much of that could I actually start doing now if I just said fuck it and decided that living was my number one priority? So how much of what you're wanting to experience in the next 1 to 3 years could you actually start doing now if you simply just threw caution to the wind and decided? And the next one is, what small things make me feel on top of the world on a daily basis? So thinking about what elevates your energy or invigorates your soul. Daily actionable things, okay? Not like big things like traveling to another continent. No, let's think small here. What small things make you feel on top of the world with your energy? And how can I be more intentional about doing these things consistently? So what needs to change in my schedule or in my priorities? And the next one is, what are 3 things I feel inspired to take action on right now to start fresh? And the last one is, when and how will I show up for these things? So get out your agenda, your Google Calendar, your to-do list, whatever it is, and actually go in and make a freaking plan. All right, that's it for today's episode, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this. If you found it helpful, please go ahead, copy the link to this episode and share it with someone who you know would love it, or simply take a screenshot of your screen on your phone right now and share it to your Instagram stories and tag me at _Samantha Daily or at Makeshift Happen Podcast. Sending you guys so much love. Let's go in and reinvigorate our soul. Start fresh, get committed to creating the lives that we want to live right now with where we are and what we have. I'm sending you the biggest hug. Thank you so much for being here. Love you. See you next week. Bye.